Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 60 of Diehlman at Halftime, the NBA podcast that tops all others. I'm your host, Larry Diehlman. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome aboard, and if you've been a loyal listener, welcome back. We have much to get to today and not a lot of time to do it. We have 5 sections that we'll get into: a general overview of the NBA this week, and our usual highlight, lowlight, random stat, and game of the week. Let's get to our content for the week. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Boston Celtics switching ownership. Now the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing the same. Owner Glenn Taylor has agreed to sell 100% of the franchise to the pairing of entrepreneur Mark Lore and MLB legend Alex Rodriguez. The price tag, $1.5 billion. Things hit a roadblock in March 2024 when Taylor called off the sale. This was due to him believing Lore and Rodriguez breached the agreement and missed a deadline. An arbitration panel sided with Lore and Rodriguez in a 3-judge panel split decision. The two added partners to their group, including former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Taylor originally bought the Timberwolves in 1994 for $94 million, which saved the franchise from potentially being relocated to New Orleans. Some people never learn from past mistakes. Memphis Grizzlies superstar Ja Morant was under investigation for making hand gestures that mimic shooting a gun at the Warriors bench last Tuesday. The refs issued double technical fouls to Morant and Warriors guard Buddy Hield, who appeared to do something similar. Morant did it again on Thursday against the Miami Heat. On Friday, the NBA issued him a $75,000 fine for twice making an inappropriate gesture on the playing court. Morant has already been suspended twice for showing a firearm on social media. One was on an Instagram livestream in a Denver nightclub, and one was on an Instagram livestream on his friend's account. There was also the time where Morant got into a heated argument during a Grizzlies-Pacers game. After the game, someone in an SUV, which Morant was in, supposedly pointed a red laser at the Pacers bus. A security guard figured the laser was attached to a gun. All these incidents are not setting a good example as a franchise player. Hopefully, Morant either gets help or stops this behavior altogether. Finally, Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard received good news this week as they were notified of their elections to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2025. Some of Anthony's accolades were being a 10-time All-Star and a 6-time All-NBA selection, 2 second teams and 4 third teams. Anthony played most of his career with the Denver Nuggets and New York Knicks. Howard's accomplishments included being an 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA selection, 5 first teams, a second team, and 2 third teams, and back-to-back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards. He played most of his career with the Orlando Magic. The enshrinement ceremony will be on September 6th at the Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. This episode is entitled Hello, Old Friend. So, who's raising eyebrows at the moment? Let's go to our highlight, the New York Knicks. With the calendar flipping to April, one team is getting their superstar back at the right time, the New York Knicks. The Knicks are 50-28 and third in the Eastern Conference. Jalen Brunson made his return against Phoenix yesterday after being sidelined for a month. New York needs every bit of Brunson's 26.1 points, 3 rebounds, and 7.4 assists per game averages. The Knicks' postseason fell apart last year due to injury upon injury, so hopefully they can make a strong run with as few players on the injury report as possible. Besides Brunson, New York's trades for Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges prior to the start of the season showed they weren't joking around. Towns is always a double-double machine. Bridges plays solid defense on the wings. OG Anunoby and Josh Hart make the Knicks lineup even filthier. Assuming seeding stays relatively the same by next week, the Knicks should grab the third seed in the East. Nobody was expecting them to take the top seed. No one expected Cleveland to play this well. Third is just right, for now. The Knicks could play the Pacers, Bucks, or Pistons in the first round. Their next game is tomorrow, Tuesday, April 8th at 7:30. They will host the Boston Celtics. Let's go to our lowlight, the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the time of year where some teams are thankful the season is about to end, like the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are 23-55, 13th in the East, and on an 11-game losing streak. To be honest, though, the Sixers season was over the minute it was announced that Joel Embiid would miss the first few games of the season. Before Tyrese Maxey was shut down for the year, he was leading the team with 26.3 points, 6.1 assists, and 1.8 steals per night. Paul George, Philadelphia's prized off-season acquisition, was a huge disappointment in his first year. With 4 games left in the regular season for the 76ers and being eliminated from playoff contention, Embiid, Maxey, and George are out for the season. Essentially, Philadelphia has been trotting out the Delaware Bluecoats, their G League team, every game. As head coach Nick Nurse said recently, it just didn't seem like the injury bug would ever leave us. It's hard to build momentum with different lineups. If Philadelphia doesn't show progress next season, for example, George continues to struggle and Embiid gets injured again, the front office might have to have some uncomfortable conversations. Their next game is tonight, Monday, April 7th at 7:30. They will be in Miami to take on the Heat. Let's go over to our random stat. The NBA has plenty of elite playmakers regardless of position. Nikola Jokic, Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, and Trae Young, for instance. Young of the Atlanta Hawks has the most assists in a season, 847, since Harden in the 2016-17 season. Young is averaging 11.6 per game, a career high for him. In 2016-17, Harden made 907 dishes for the Houston Rockets, which was a career high 11.2 dimes per night. Young has usually been known for double-doubles, with his career averages at 25.3 points and 9.8 assists. This goes for Harden as well, with 24 and 7.2 respectively. In one season, Harden went from 7.5 to 11.2, a 3.7 assist increase. Then Rockets head coach Mike D'Antoni put his star at point guard, hence inflating his averages. Going back to his college days in 2017-18, Young led Division I at Oklahoma with 8.7 dimes per night. As the first player to ever lead the NCAA in both points and assists in a single season, he was a consensus first-team All-American. The most ridiculous part of Young's stats is that he isn't anywhere close to the all-time leader, John Stockton. Stockton had 1,164 assists in 1990-91, which was 14.2 per game. That wasn't even his career high. He averaged 14.5 a year earlier. Regardless, I know Young's teammates don't mind being on the receiving end of a triple or alley-oop. Finally, let's go to Game of the Week. For this week's Game of the Week, I don't think there's any other choice besides the LA Lakers at Dallas Mavericks. This game will be on Wednesday, April 9th at 7:30 p.m. Luka Doncic will make his return to Dallas for the first time since he was traded for Anthony Davis, formerly of the Lakers, back in February. Doncic spent his first 6.5 years with Dallas, which included a trip to the NBA Finals last season. Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison has been the laughingstock of the NBA since this trade. With Doncic on LA's roster, the Lakers have been cruising along nicely near the top of the Western Conference standings. Dallas has had a crap ton of injuries. Kyrie Irving is already out for the year with a torn ACL. Thankfully, the Mavericks have been able to get players like Davis, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington back on the court. This will be JJ Redick versus Jason Kidd on the head coach front. I'll side with the Lakers 120-110. To get more insight into our game of the week this week, we have our 11th guest on Diehlman at Halftime Season 2. Let's get into it. So, for our 11th guest of Season 2 on the Diehlman at Halftime podcast, we welcome Justin Turpin. Justin works for WEEI Sports Radio Network in Brighton, Massachusetts, as the lead beat writer for the Boston Celtics, as well as being an on-air producer and digital content producer. Additionally, he works on 2 podcasts with Odyssey, the Slammed podcast, which he co-hosts and produces, and 6 Rings and Football Things, in which he is the executive producer. Justin is a 2021 graduate of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Justin, how are we doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, I've been looking to get some other connections outside of the Philly area, and you're in Boston, so all good. So, Justin, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Lakers at Mavericks game on Wednesday, April 9th. They are our game of the week as Luka Doncic makes his return to Dallas. So, my first question for you, how shocked were you when this trade went down, especially since it was announced in the middle of the night? Were the Mavericks justified to trade Luka because of the looming contract extension and weight concerns? What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, man, it's been about 2 months now since that trade went down, and it still makes as much sense as it does now the day it happened. Like, it makes no sense to me, and I don't think it makes sense to a lot of people around the league and people that follow the league. You don't trade a guy who's 26 years old, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, last year's scoring champ. He won the Western Conference Finals MVP last year. You don't trade a guy like that, not at this stage in his career. And worst of all, you don't not make it known that you're trading him, right? And Anthony Davis is a great player. Everyone knows what he's done. He's an All-NBA player himself. But you have one of the top 5, at the very least, a top 5 player in the league, consensusly around the league. You don't trade that guy and not make it known with the rest of the league that this guy's available, right? Like I said, Anthony Davis is a great player, but it is malpractice to not shop him, to not go out and at least test your options, because you see some of these trade packages. Hell, Mikal Bridges over the summer went for 5 first-round picks. 5! And you got Anthony Davis and a couple other throw-ins. Like, Max Christie's going to be a good player. Like, there's going to be good players involved in this trade. But you had a perennial MVP candidate, a guy who was, again, consensusly a top 5 player in the league, and didn't even make it known you were selling him. I'll never understand it. And, I mean, it's going to do irreplaceable damage to that franchise and their fan base. We're already seeing people protest, not going to the games, fire Nico. It's that bad, man. It's really that bad. And you don't want to be over exaggerating about it, but like, man, that is one of the wildest trades in NBA history and sports history. And yeah, like I said, 2 months later, it still makes absolutely no sense, and it never will.
I saw a video the other day, and maybe you saw it too. It was at one of the games. Nico Harrison was like right there, a fan behind him. Like he said, "Fire Nico" right to his face, which that is a very ballsy move to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how many fans would actually tell it to his face. And I know that he hired like a security staff. I don't know how many people would actually tell him to his face, but definitely an interesting move from the fans. And yeah, the Mavericks fans I know are definitely not happy with this trade overall. And I know, you being in the Boston area, imagine if they traded Jason Tatum to the 76ers for like I don't know, like let's say last year, like for Tobias Harris
Or yeah.
or like
Oh,
Paul
baby.
George or something. That would be, and they'd be in an uproar. And the Mavericks just made the finals. So I definitely think the contract extension, like that's a lot of money for one guy. But then again, it is Luka Doncic. The weight concerns, we see Nikola Jokic drop like 60-point triple doubles like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And he's more concerned about his horses in Serbia. But, what do I know? I'm not a NBA GM or
Was the
anything.
weight concern a thing last year? Did you hear anything about his weight concern when he
Well,
brought them to the NBA Finals?
well, the only thing was the whole the beer clip, like Michael Finley taking it in
Yeah.
his hand. But they weren't like, oh well, they don't want to sign him because of the weight concerns. It's like it only came out recently.
Every player has a beer after going to the finals. I can tell you that for sure. In the Celtics locker room, after they clinched in Indiana, they were drinking beer. Newsflash, you can enjoy a beer. One beer is not going to kill you. It's not going to knock you off your rhythm.
No, no. I live in the Philly area, and the Phillies have been in the playoffs the last few years. They're like doing keg stands and
Look at
chugging,
baseball. That's a great point.
and they're
That's a
chugging,
great
they're
point.
chugging after every game. I'm like, come on, guys. Well,
You win a
baseball.
wild card game in baseball and you do champagne showers. Like
Yeah.
it's common. It's nothing out of the ordinary. That really felt like the beginning of the end though. Like that felt like you're not going to let this guy have a single beer in the hallway with his father after he's going to the NBA finals. Like, come on. And I get there's concerns like defensively, he has his liabilities. Like, listen, I cover the Boston Celtics. We made fun of him all offseason because he was the Celtics' best offensive player. Yes, I said that right, offensive player because they would get him involved on the defensive end and he couldn't do anything. There was literally 5-on-4. They were just bullying him. So he has his limitations, yes, but they are not in the NBA Finals last year without Luka Doncic. And there's other players, plenty of players who have had defensive liabilities and defensive limitations that have gone and been successful because the team successfully builds around them and the coaches draw up defensive schemes to hide said players. So again, man, it's so crazy that that's the route that they went. And again, if you want to be frustrated after the NBA Finals, if you're the Mavericks and you see that, and it's like, all right, you know what? Maybe you don't believe he's going to turn it around. You don't believe in his conditioning or whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying you have to hold on to Luka Doncic by any means. It's easy for me to sit here and be like, yeah, keep him. Like he's not fat. Like I'm not the one paying him 383 million or whatever it would have been, right? So it's easy for me to sit here and say that. But if I were Dallas, like that's fine. If you're looking at the NBA Finals, like we do not believe he's going to turn this around. His defense is too bad. We want to build it as a defensive system. Watching the Celtics, that's what they did last year. They went more towards defense, won the finals. If you look at all the NBA Finals winners in recent years, they have good defenses. So if you want to win the NBA Finals, you have to be good on both ends of the ball. If you didn't think Luka Doncic can fit that, that's fine. You can trade him by all means. But make it known. Don't zero in on a 32-year-old Anthony Davis and be like, yo, this is our guy. Like, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, just a lot of craziness at the trade deadline, but now Luca in Los Angeles. So going to my next point, as you just mentioned, Anthony Davis. So Anthony Davis recently made his return for the Mavericks after being sidelined with an injury, despite him still getting acquainted with his new team. Do you like this fit for him long term? And how long do you think Dallas's championship window is open approximately? Because he just came back from the injury. There were the rumors of the Mavericks might have to forfeit games because they didn't have any players left, but they've gotten some players back. So Anthony Davis is fit long term, and how long for the window?
Yeah, I mean, long term, he's tied there. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's under contract through the 2027-2028 season. So, yeah, he's not going anywhere. So, they better hope it works long term. In the minutes that he's played with the Mavericks, especially when they're more healthy, it's looked like a good fit. Like, his first game there was like, oh, man, like, oh, Nico might have it right. This might work. Like, he looks great. And then he gets hurt. And that was the big knock on Anthony Davis. It's not him as a player, it's the fact that he's never available. So if you're going to trade Luka Doncic for being fat and out of shape, you would bring in a guy you'd expect that is going to play 82 games, some Iron Man, right? Like that'd feel like a good way to compensate for it. No, they go the opposite and they go get Anthony Davis. And again, I don't want to knock Anthony Davis as a player because I think he's terrific. And I don't think anyone would argue that. He's a 10-time All-Star. He's led the league in blocks 3 times. He's obviously won an NBA Finals, all defensive teams, all NBA teams. He's done it all. It's just the guy's not on the floor. And then you're going to pair him with Kyrie Irving, who again just tore his ACL, just adding to the nightmare of the season, and Klay Thompson. Now, if you told me it's Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson, 2017, anywhere between 2017 and 2020, I'd be like, damn, that's a super team. Like that's what they got something special over there. But not now. Not now. Not after Clay's gone through all these injuries and obviously left Golden State on kind of a sour note. On not him personally, but him in his playing days, it kind of looked like the best days were behind him. And he's had some moments this year. He's looked good, but I mean, Kyrie Irving, he's still great, but how's he going to be now? He's coming off a torn ACL. He's getting up there in age, and Anthony Davis just can't stay on the floor. So, I mean, their window is late by maybe 10 years with this core they have now, especially when you're looking at the Western Conference, man. Look, you got teams like Oklahoma City, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies. These teams aren't going anywhere. Even the Lakers, as long as LeBron James is there and now that Luka Doncic is there, these teams aren't going anywhere. Like these are the teams that you are going to be seeing for the foreseeable future. And as you're constructed right now, you're not beating any.
Yeah, the super team thing back in 2017, that would have been disgusting. Kyrie and Clay and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis back in his Pelicans days, and Kyrie when he was, on the Celtics, and Clay when he was a prime shooter for the Warriors.
A note
But
on that for you, just as a Celtics reporter, the local tie with Danny Ainge, obviously now with the Utah Jazz, was great Celtic in the playing days. And he was the one that brought together kind of the team they have now with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like he always wanted when they had Kyrie Irving, he always wanted to pair Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. That was his goal. Every offseason, he'd try to make a run at Anthony Davis. Fittingly, Utah facilitated money in that trade, which sent Anthony Davis to Dallas and paired him with Kyrie Irving. So there you go. He finally did it.
oh, Danny Ainge, what a guy. So yeah, I think I like the fit long term in Dallas. Obviously, health is the biggest what if. If this was like 10 years ago, or if Kyrie didn't just tear his ACL and Anthony Davis just had an adductor strain. It's an interesting fit. Like let's say for example, we're playing NBA 2K and we turn injuries off. It'd be an interesting fit. I think for the championship window though, and you're welcome to jump in on this. I think they have like a 2, maybe 3 year window. And then you're really going to maybe start to see a little bit of decline from all of them. Because, I mean, they're all like in their early 30s, like 32, 33. Clay is like 35 or something. I think they have like 2 or 3 years. If they don't get it done, they might have just set their franchise back like, what?
I think they sent it back regardless. Like you put all your look at kind of what Philly did, right? When pairing Paul George with Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey is a lot younger, but you went older. Like they had the oldest average roster age in the league entering the season. They went older and it was terrible. It failed miserably. Kind of like what Dallas is doing now. When you lean on all these older players, they just really don't have it anymore and they can't really stay on the floor. And as long as LeBron James is in that Western Conference and he's still playing with Luka with the Lakers, they're not even going to beat the Lakers. And that's not even talking about because LeBron and Luka are going to get up for those games. Like they're not going to beat the Lakers. And then you're not even thinking about them having to beat Houston, them having to beat Golden State. Throw Golden State in there with Jimmy Butler too. I meant Oklahoma City, but throw Golden State in there too. Denver, like you're not even talking about these teams right now. You're only talking about the Lakers. And then you got 4 other teams you got to worry about getting through the Western Conference. I mean, it is important to have championship pedigree and guys that have been there and done that. And obviously they have 3 of those that have done that at the highest of levels with the group they have now with Kyrie, AD, and Klay Thompson. We saw that last year locally with Drew Holiday. Like Drew Holiday had been there and done that. And when it got to the postseason, he made all the right plays. And he was really that steady hand that brought the Celtics to the championship. And when they got Drew Holiday last year and paired him with the extremely talented roster they already had, that's when everyone kind of thought that the Celtics were going to win it all. Like when they got that adult in the room, when they got somebody that had been there and done that. So I guess that championship experience really does mean something and it is important. But I mean, just talent wise and what they have around the rest of the roster, they have a lot of work to do before we can start talking contending windows. And, they don't have a lot of time to do it.
I noticed in the last few days the Mavericks have started to claw their way back into the play-in tournament standings, and I'm like, with all due respect, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't know. It's them and Phoenix are kind of teetering on the 9-10 seed, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, just end the season, get Kyrie healthy, assuming he'll be back at the start of the season. Get Anthony Davis, get everybody healthy, then let's start talking about a championship run. But this season, I just don't say it, honestly.
No, I don't either. And no one really wants those bottom half of the play-in seeds here in the Western Conference. Like they're trying not to get in. I think Dallas is going to get in. And I think Dallas is going to have some interesting decisions to make because I don't see a way that ownership fires Nico Harrison this year. Like I think you have to keep that guy. You just put all your eggs in. I can tell you this. He didn't make that trade without some vetting from ownership. You don't trade a guy like Luka Doncic and just be like, yeah, oh, you guys will never believe what I did. This is nuts. Like, that's not how it works, right? Ownership knew about it. They signed off on it, and hell, they might have even played a part in it. So when you support a guy like that, you're not just gonna cut him like right after that. You're not just gonna fire him and move on. Then again, this could be twofold because you could look at it the other way and be like, man, like the only way to restore peace within that fan base and within that it's some of it's irreplaceable. Like they lost fans for life, like in that was massive damage. So maybe another way, the only way to kind of bring some of those people back and put asses in the seats next year is to go out and fire him. Like maybe that's it. So there's going to be a lot of interesting decisions they have to make, and it starts with the general manager, which is never a good thing, especially for a team that was in the NBA Finals a year ago, and you had one of the best players in the league. And it's like, oh, these guys will be back. Luka's going to be back. We'll see if he ever wins one, but he's going to be back. And now what are we doing? Like, what is next? And no one really knows the answer to that question.
There's two things with this whole Luka trade as we get to our next question. One, yeah, the owners probably signed up on this, and Nico could just be the scapegoat. Number two, there's all these rumors with the Mavericks are going to Vegas, and they're trying to move, and they're trying to, I guess, piss the fan base off, and they're trying to move to Vegas, and Adam Silver get us over to Sin City. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. So next, many have said Luka will be the face of the Lakers for at least a decade when LeBron retires, probably in the next year or so. For now, though, what do you like about this Luka LeBron pairing that makes it so unique and dangerous?
I mean, they're two of the most prolific scorers in the league. And when you tie that in together, it's fun to watch. And clearly it's worked for them. I mean, I know they were a lot hotter a couple of weeks ago and they've cooled off a little bit. And part of that is then guys being in and out of the lineups with injury. And Luka hasn't really been shooting the ball well as a Laker. Like he's still trying to find his rhythm from three and from the field. Like he's not necessarily shooting the ball well, but they can score. And ironically, their defense got better when they got Luka Doncic. Like their defensive rating went up. They were for a large stretch of it. I honestly don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but probably in the last 30 games, like they're probably still in the top five of defense. Like they for a couple weeks ago, over a 25 game sample size, they were number one. So their defense went up when they got Luka Doncic, and they've been improved. And that was their problem at the beginning of the years. They couldn't defend. And when they started to play defense, they started to turn it up a little bit and turn things around. But I mean, that pairing, it was all about it wasn't going to work with two ball dominant players. Will LeBron be willing to share the spotlight? And it seems like LeBron's really taken this under his wing, and he's like, well, this is like it's my responsibility to kind of groom him. Like people don't think he's good enough. Clearly, you just shipped him out here because you didn't want to pay him a supermax because you think he's overweight and can't play. And now you pair him with one of the greatest athletes of all time, a guy who's 40 freaking years old, still putting up MVP numbers. Like that's a perfect pairing for Luka because that's a guy like that is the ultimate professional. That is the guy that, like, if you follow that guy around and just let him rub off on you, his work ethic, what he does, how he handles his body, how he conditions, that's how you do it. Like, LeBron's 40 years old putting up MVP numbers. Like, if he wanted to keep playing, he could probably go another 10 years, and I don't think anyone would be surprised. Right. Like he's like the Tom Brady of basketball of our generation, like in terms of longevity and in terms of success. So it's just a perfect pairing for Luka. You pair him with such a elite athlete, one of the best to ever do it, and a guy who's really gotten there from just his constant training and always improving. Like that's what Luka needed. And you're giving that. And then you also have his former teammate in JJ Redick, who had a successful career in the NBA himself. So there's a lot of resources there that he can lean on and people can help. And Jason Kidd was too. And Jason Kidd seemed blindsided by the entire thing. But I think this is the type of motivation that like you give somebody, right? Like you essentially just sold him because he's fat. Like just let that settle in. It's like, dude, you're too fat and you can't play defense. We're gonna trade you, and it's gonna cost you $100 million a year, or whatever the hell the number was. Like, what more motivation can you need? You got shipped out of the place that you were gonna finish your career, go down as a Hall of Famer, and potentially bring an NBA championship to because they thought you were fat. Like, seriously, like that's the reporting, and it sounds so ridiculous to keep bringing that up. Like, oh, he was fat. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, that's their words. That is their words. They thought he was out of shape and couldn't play defense. That is why they traded him. Like, what more motivation do you possibly need? And then you give him with LeBron James. Like, that's a good pairing.
Imagine if back in the day, now Dirk Nowitzki was not a guy, he's not going to go get like 10 all defensive first teams or anything. Can you imagine
Right.
if the Mavericks had traded Dirk Nowitzki back in the day, let's say to pair him with Kobe Bryant in LA, just using LA as another reference? I think honestly, American Airlines Center or whatever, if it was that name back in the day, it probably would have been burnt to the ground. Like Mavericks fans would have like actually burned it to the ground. But I think with the Luca and LeBron, they're very similar players. Like there's kind of like a point forward. Luca's, I guess, technically a guard, but he's kind of like 6'7", so you can kind of call him a forward. Very similar play styles, triple doubles. You can kind of say Luca's like LeBron light in a way. So just very similar play styles. and he will transition very well, I think, once LeBron hangs up his sneakers in the next few years. And LA is definitely a team to watch out for in the West. So, lastly, the first matchup between the Lakers and Mavericks after the trade was on February 25th in LA. The Lakers won 107-99. Who do you see winning this upcoming game and why? And what's a score prediction too?
Uh, I think the Lakers win this one because of the reason we just talked about, that no one wants that play-in tournament. Like they are all, everyone's like almost purposely trying to lose. I was trying to pull it up in front of me. How many points did Luka have on that? He went for 30, right?
I don't think it
In
was
that
as
first
much,
hit.
but I think he
Did he
did have
not
like
go?
he had a triple double. I think it was like 15 rebounds or 15 assists or something.
Yeah, like he had a monster game. Now back at American Airlines Center, yeah, I mean he's going to be getting shots up and he's going to have a big game. So I look forward to it. I predict a big game from Luka, and I really do think they blow him out. I don't think anyone, like I said, nobody wants that Western Conference play-in tournament seed, and it is only fitting, right, that Luka Doncic comes in and just annihilates them and officially kicks them out of the playoffs and ends it. So big night for him and the big Lakers win.
So I just looked at the box score. Luka in that February 25th game, 19 points, 15
Well,
rebounds,
only
12,
19.
12 assists.
But he did have the triple double. He was
Yes.
shooting. He shot the ball a ton.
Yeah.
If he's getting those shots up, man, like yeah, this he might go for 50. He's good. He's gonna be getting them up. Like, he might get 50.
It's definitely not going to be one of those like return to the home arena where like LeBron in his first game back in Cleveland when he went to the Heat obviously was booed every time he touched the ball. Luka's going to be cheered. There might be a couple boos like hey, you're the enemy now, but it's not going to be anything serious. I think Luka, he either might have like a casual like that kind of triple double or he just might go nuclear. And I honestly would laugh hysterically if he saw Nico Harrison and like pointed to him as he like hit a step back three or something. That'd be the most hilarious thing, and that might turn into a meme.
If
So,
if Nico Harrison is smart, he stays home. Do not go to that game.
oh yeah,
Do
no question.
not go to that game. Just stay the hell home. Take a sick day. Do not show up there because that like it's more. If Nico Harrison was there, it would be more about him than it would be Luca. Like everyone would be directing, like, how the hell did you do this? Like again, everyone that I've talked to, for the most part, there's a very slim amount of people that don't feel this way. Everyone's been very still confused about this trade and that it makes no sense. And maybe not the trade itself again, but the handling of it, not making him available and, just the way you're going to kick him when he leaves. Like there was like the whole, like the exit stories and, just spitting on his grave after, like that was bizarre. The whole entire situation was bizarre. So if Nico Harrison's there, it's like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, just go home. Like, they're gonna throw at him. Like, it'll get bad.
No, I think definitely take a sick day there. My prediction, Lakers 120-110. I think, yeah, Lakers are probably going to win this one. They're more powerful right now than the Mavericks, and I think Luka will definitely have a very good welcome home game. So, Justin, thank you for coming on to the podcast, and hopefully we can get you back on in the future.
Yeah, anytime, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on social media. I have 2 X or Twitter accounts and 2 Instagram accounts. The podcast accounts are under @Diehlman_NBA for both X and Instagram. My personal X account is @LarryDiehlman18 and my personal Instagram is @Mr_Sports18. They're also in the description on Buzzsprout, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you to Justin Turpin for being our guest this week on the podcast. Remember, you can follow him on X @JustinMTurpin and Instagram @Justin.Turpin. And don't forget to spread the word about Diehlman at halftime. We have reached the end of the regular season portion of Diehlman at Halftime Season 2, and starting with next week's episode until the end of the season, we will transition into the playoff portion. The next 2 episodes will be special editions. Next week, I will unveil my entire playoff bracket, including the play-in tournament, and the week after, we will do a Power Rankings predictions review. Remember that first episode where I ranked all 30 NBA teams 1 to 30? We're going to look back on it to see how good or bad I did. So make sure you tune into that. See you next time, fellow Hoops fans.